Okay, so we want to get started with brackets and coding and how do we do it. And so how do we get all this set up and going? So for those who haven't put two and two together, just let's Google brackets, and then you would look up brackets.io, and you'd be able to download and install. Um, for those who are on Mac, Sublime Text 3, I think is the most recent one, or Sublime Text anyway. This is similar to brackets, so you can use this as well. These are Windows, but obviously it's Mac as well. So once you've downloaded brackets and you open it, I'll cover what the heck this is. Obviously, I have quite a few files that I do lots of coding and other bits of coding, and you can see it's just stuff inside stuff inside stuff inside stuff because I'm constantly doing things across the year levels and what have you and repeating lots of things. So how do we get this set up? First of all, if you want to get dark mode, because this bright white mode that you'd have by default is painful, so view themes, and this you get. So you normally have this painful version. So you go to dark. Cool. Just leave everything else the same. That's whatever that is. This number is purely because I've been zooming in and out. Okay, so to zoom in and out, is Control plus minus, or you can just scroll wheel. I think Control scroll wheel. Right, and then there's what are these plugins and stuff that I've got on here. So if you click the brick, I'll look at my installed ones. So you can use this as a reference, and you can pause the video. They're not deadly important, but it just makes things slightly easier. Beautify. Basically, it's this little magic wand, and what it does is when you click it, it'll just help all your indentation clean up. Bracket file icons. This is what actually puts those little like the logos next to things. So that way you see, oh yeah, that's an HTML logo, that's a CSS logo. This don't need PHP, don't need that, don't need that. So really, it's just those two. This is the only one. This is me doing other stuff when I've been playing with PHP coding. But yeah, just those two, top two. So beautify and brackets file icons, and you're looking for the Drew Knock one. There are other ones, but this one is just the one I use. Okay, so then it's like, well, what's going on here? So if I go, essentially what this is trying to do is trying to get like a file set up. So this is like, well, where's all your files that you use for your code? And it just kind of links it in the window. So if I was to show you it, if I go into curriculum, programming, teaching file, see this? Teaching files. If I go in, there you go. So it's everything that's in there. So anytime I make like if I go here and go new folder, it will make a new folder here. So it's just linked. That's all this is. So if I go, say file, go open folder, I can choose a location. So I might go OneDrive, say DTC, and I'll have a new folder called coding. Right, and I'll use that coding file. I'll go select folder. So now it's called coding. That's all gone. I mean, it's still set in the right place here. It's just now, instead of being linked to this location, I've been linked to this location. So we want to set up a new project of some description within coding. So I might just say new folder, and I might call this like, you know, learning one, right? And then I want to make a new file. I actually want some files to code with, right? So I will right mouse click on this one because I want to make a file inside there. So actually, if I don't, let's just go this new file, and I'm going to call this index.html. That's where that logo comes from, and you can see it's in here. So if I look back here, it's not set in the folder. So I can take this here and put it in the folder. And so when I do this, you can see it's in the folder. And when I go here, it's in that folder. Now, normally inside this folder location, if I'm going to have images of any description, I would have an images folder. New folder. Images. right? Now if I go back now, you can see there's my images folder. So you can see those two are connected. Then so inside learning one, new file, styles.css. There we go. So we've got the two files kind of set up. So I want to go on index.html. This is where you put your web content. So if I go exclamation mark dot type HTML, this is declaring it's an HTML document. Right, and if I put something in here like just like hello, I save it. I can then use this little lightning bolt to launch it, and it'll launch it in Chrome or whatever my computer's default setting is. And so you can see there's hello, and I can say hello, is this still working? And so see how there's a dot next to it? I haven't saved it. So if I save this and bring it through, I can refresh this and go, is this still working? There is an option here to set that there's like a live connection, but I tend to think that tends to be a bit iffy for me working. I don't know if it's particularly with my antivirus network setups with my school laptop or what the story is, but I've seen plenty of students with their own laptops and they don't seem to have an issue. Right, so how do we get this, like if I want this word to be bigger, or I want this to, I don't know, add a picture or anything like that kind of stuff, well, how do we start doing those things? Well, if we want to do anything, oops, let's do this. Yeah, okay, fine. So you can add something that's called style code, right? Now this is done internally inside a document. This one here, style document, is actually set up for styling purely. And it seems like, well, why would you make a separate document? Is it a little bit cleaner, more organized? Well, imagine if I had 6 HTML pages and then I had one style sheet that styled all of them connected, because essentially when we go to a website, I don't know, right, we go to a website and we want to go from, yeah, okay, cool, from page where it's got a styling, the same, rather than having to write this separately for every new page. That would be, so essentials.html, new.html, clothing.html, suits.html. You get the idea. So this is just a little way to do it though. So if I want to say HTML for the whole document, background color red, and I'll have a look here and let's refresh it. There you go, there's my background red. Now if I want to change the color of text, I mean I can look up this thing, so I can go CSS text, text color. We spell American when we're coding, so I'm in a habit of doing that. CSS text color. Right. The color properties used to change color text, so e.g. color blue. Right, okay. So I don't know how to identify this because it doesn't have a tag. So a tag is normally like, say something like this, H1, because it's a level 1 heading. And I'll just take that. So this is start being a heading, stop being a heading. So then I would say to this one here, H1 color white. And you can see when I refresh this, there you go, it's gotten bigger because it's an H1. So I could say font dash size and say something like 10 pixels. You see it's a lot smaller. In terms of this here, I can say, well, I want another line of text, but I just want normal text. So your normal text is normally just in a paragraph of text, and I go, this is different. Okay, so refresh that. There's that. This is different. And so if I wanted this style to be, I don't know, color. It's going to stick out. Black, already black. So let's try and make it, I don't know, green, because it'll just be really ugly. Right, there you go. It's very Christmassy. Okay, and I might say that's just way too much. I might just say like make it grey. Okay, and then I might say make this black, even though the default color is black. Right, there you go. So we can do this, but if I copy all of this and I cut it, because I don't need it, here I can say in my style sheet, be there, and see all this spacing's gone all funny. So if I click my magic wand, there you go, cleans up my spacing. I save it. The only problem is, right, I've got rid of all that. If I save this and now look at it, it's not working anymore. The reason why it's not working is this document doesn't know that this document's existing, or it's not connected in any way. So to connect a document, we normally have an R head. We normally put things like a title attribute, which says this goes in the tab. So when we see this here, and I refresh it, see it says this goes in the tab. That's the bit that does that, is this title part here. And then to link a style sheet to this, we say link. What is the relationship of that link? That is a style sheet. And how do we find it? So the hyperlink reference to where you locate that is, well, where is it in our files? It's right next to it. So I don't need to tell it to look anywhere. I'm just like, it's next to you. What's its name? So it's like you're set at the same table and it's like, oh, can you you want to talk to Bob, then you just use his name. So you just say, okay, Bob, okay, styles.css. Right. So when we do that, and then go through and then refresh it, there you go. All our styling's connected again. So this all works. So that's just a wee rundown on getting set up with brackets and getting the testing and actually setting up some bits and pieces and getting used to it. My other videos obviously are starting to work with brackets. Sorry, not brackets. CSS grids and building things. It's probably a little bit more busy. So I will obviously make sure that there is Code Avenger courses. So actually, let's close this and then get one that's actually got all my history cached. Which is this thing here. And I'll make sure there's Code Avengers courses set up for everyone so they can chip away at the HTML courses and just kind of familiarize themselves and go from there. So good luck.